dan, poštovani gledaoci, dobrodošli u novu epizodu podcasta Arhitekta. Nakon tek završenog 4. Arhitekta foruma, sa nama je još jedan od gostiju, odnosno učesnika, predavača, and it is Vincent de Graaf from the studio AIM or AIM on English, and on Serbian it is AIM.
Okay.
AIM.
Okay.
And he had an interesting lecture. You had an interesting lecture.
Thank you.
And because the acronym of your studio is
AIM, so that means AIM Architecture. And then we say Authentic Immersive Matters.
Yes, and that is the philosophy of the studio. Let us speak about that, for example.
Okay, good. We Authentic Immersive Matters is just a way to explain maybe philosophy behind our studio. Our studio originated in Shanghai. Me and my partner, we traveled to Shanghai in 2005 with the idea to travel and to kind of like see maybe the world through an architectural lens. And as we found ourselves setting up a studio, we very often got the request, oh, can you design this project for me? Maybe you can design in Spanish style or in Italian style or like in contemporary style, and we never knew what to say to these people because for us style was totally not on the agenda.
This 21st century, there is no style.
Well, that's not entirely, at least that was not how our clients perceived that.
I understand.
And it slowly became sort of like a thing that when you develop your studio in the land of sort of like copy of reference or that authenticity is something that is very valuable but very hard to explain. And of course there's the question, what does authenticity mean for a foreign studio that kind of like operates within a context that is foreign to them. It has nothing to do with China, I suppose, and I guess it's a question which is more universal for architects around the world. But to us, authenticity became very, very important because authenticity originates from context for us. And that means sort of like as architects, we read the context. But context to us is more than just the city or the typography or sort of like the physical context. The context is also mean who's going to use your buildings, how are people perceive your buildings that are not directly your clients, so how does the city use your buildings, where does your client come from, what is their perspective on the world,
background,
etc. So that context altogether for us became to be the real context. So like the bigger context of a project become the base for how you develop your project. And I think if you develop them from the origin on, then automatically you derive to something that is much closer to authenticity than if you start from a starting point of, oh, I like something like this or I like something like that. So that's the first word, the authenticity for us. If you look at our work in the website, you'll find that it doesn't really have one style. I think it's very diverse. As also our studio, we work in hospitality, we work in retail, we work in culture. All these questions that come at us are very diverse, and so why come to a similar answer to all of those? To us, it's an interesting starting point for your studio because it is also a genuine question to yourself. It is every time, what does this assignment mean and how can I answer that and how can it be a positive creative experiment for your studio.
I understand, and I saw some interesting newly projects that are built or that are in the process of making. Explain some of them or present some of them that can be interesting for our people, our architects, to see how do you do that job.
Okay.
How do you think? How do you project?
I'll use Cotton Park as an example. Maybe for those who don't know, so the project started with 4 old oil drums, sort of 20-something meter diameter steel projects which are positioned in a park next to a canal, and our client was a clothing company. And so the clothing company decided that they originated from an online clothing company and decided that they didn't want to go the normal path where they would open shops in the shopping street, but they decided that they wanted to contribute their stores to interesting places in society. And the government liked that, so they offered them this site. The problem about the silos is that the beauty of the silos is, of course, the spaces are amazing. You go inside them, you have this very beautiful round kind of panopticon-like spaces. They have this very beautiful old steel patina. Industrial, but of course they're very closed. So how to open them is one question, and the other question is they also get very, very hot. So if the sun blazes down them, they're 60 degrees, so you need to insulate, etc. So what do? We first of all we pass a line directly through the different silos, so people can experience one by one. And 2 of them we use for a clothing store. One is a cultural space and one is an F&B space. The space that we cut out from the silos, we tilt and turn into a walkway to connect the spaces, and to answer the climate question, we build glass houses in 2 of the silos, and we build We build glass houses inside them because that makes it possible to climatize your space, while you still have a presence of the beauty of the silos that you begin with. So rather than thinking, oh, I need to insulate these buildings, making them buildings effectively, it's maybe nicer to not do that and to leave them objects by building a new building inside of them.
Building inside building.
Exactly, glass building inside of a building. For us, that on the design level, I think is a very interesting gain for the project, because it allows the historical heritage to be prevailed, and it allows us to have this fascination with this object. The second thing why this is so cool is that there's also a restaurant and a cultural silo, actually eventually an empty silo. Our projects are not just for the reason of the project. Our projects are also for the city. So
responsibility.
Exactly. So when you come there, you will find that the park is activated by these silos, by the activity in the silos. The neighborhood opera singer will go into one of these silos and do his thing. Children playing around. We built some play kind of like architectures around the silos. So for us, it's interesting to do something more than just fulfill our project. It's interesting to contribute to the to society or to whatever is around.
Great. It is interesting approach to the problem. It is not a problem. It is, you know, it is, I don't know, it is some kind of new experience. It is some kind of new challenge.
Yes.
We had some ideas here in Belgrade for some silos, concrete silos, not steel, but concrete. But it never, I don't know, one architect, he passed away, I think last year. He dealt with that project, but the investor never came. Or investor bought that silos, but he never wanted to invest. He made some kind of three different types of three solutions: apartments, big hotel, or big business building. And all three solutions were interesting because, you know, it is in concrete, you know, circles. And he made apartments of different square meters, or in hotel, different, you know, cutaway of the space you need, you know, something. But it is interesting approach because he didn't use that kind of idea, building inside of building, because you were right. If you put you know, sun or everything, it will be, you know, like in the oven.
Well, I think the city has a lot of capital, and the capital is in not in financial capital, but in this kind of buildings. If I travel through the city, I see a lot of opportunity. And I think the easiest things is to think like, oh, this is an old building, I'm going to knock it down and I'm going to build something new.
It is always easier like that.
But I think to reuse and to kind of like can be an asset to the city on multiple fronts. So financially, it can be an asset to reuse what you already have. For the city, it's very good to keep your heritage and to reuse buildings in a new way. Sustainable-wise, it is a good idea because, of course, demolishing and rebuilding is a lot worse for the planet, usually. For us, we kind of enjoy to treat buildings like found objects and to come with special creativity and to bring spaces that hopefully conquer the imagination of the people around them. And we found great power in that in multiple occasions. So to all the investors out there, don't hesitate to reach out.
They have, you know, that has sense. They have sense for something that is new, something that is interesting, something that is authentical. What is the another project that is, you know, maybe finished, maybe, I don't know, that is interesting to say about?
Well, let's talk about the same line as we're talking about these kind of... I can do different projects, but maybe...
all of your projects are very interesting. It's not the problem.
Okay, I'll talk about a different thing. So another online retailer, in this case a company called Harmei, used to be number 5 in cosmetics in China.
Really?
And their question was, how can we go from an online retailer to be an offline? How can we build a presence offline? How can we build shops And the question is, of course, interesting because you think, okay, when I can already buy everything online, what do I need a shop for? And actually...
To touch, I don't know.
Exactly, to touch and to feel
put,
and to... Yes. I think if you go online and you look at our work, you'll find a number of stores. And the stores are all built around the I in our brand name, the immersive kind of like side of the of design. So that means we try to build strong experiences around what we do. So in very short, the first shop was a warehouse. So we basically, rather than building a shop, we build a warehouse that doesn't have any brand names, that allows the consumer to kind of like come and browse in the warehouse. And so you will have a very expensive product next to a very cheap product. And it's an experience to do that. Basically, all the people that come there to buy actually already know what they want, but they just kind of like, they love the many things and the ambience of that. And that is something that is, I think, interesting for architecture. It's interesting to think kind of like, how do your people really feel in the architecture? And so we build a lot of immersive experiences. They are physical experiences. They start on the street, not in the store. They are a special answer to the context that they are in. So we have special underground experiences. We have very warehouse experiences. We have built shops in offices that look like shops, or like offices. It's kind of interesting play.
I just wanted to say you're playing in a whole new level.
Yes. Well, I think that's the opportunity. So people say retail is dead.
No.
No, so retail isn't dead, because actually the question for a lot of our project, not only in retail, is like how to build that experience, how to create this emotional sort of like condition of people in and around the buildings that we built. So it's not about the building, it's not about the shop, it's about sort of like how you make people feel in and around them.
Yes, that is the point, because you can project in one way or another. It depends of your taste or creativity, but sometimes for someone that is the good architecture, but it doesn't answer to the needs.
It does. It does. You know, so we say
no, not yours, but sometimes you have a good architecture. You see it is good. But the needs for the users and everything are on the margins of the main idea. But you are thinking about that. You are in the focus of that. You are not focusing on the style, like you said.
No.
On the needs.
Yes.
That is the point.
Yes. Yeah, I think we throw all the arguments that are on the table in one basket. So what the client wants, what the building wants, what the people want.
What the budget wants.
What the budget wants, perhaps, yes. We say we build theaters for life, and which means that we use our projects to kind of like build this kind of experience in and around our projects. And we try to do that in a sustainable way by keeping a lot what is there. If you look at our work, you'll find that we don't decorate everything. We basically use sort of like the existing buildings or layers or maybe new buildings that are there.
You are not putting a makeup on your architecture.
We're putting layers on top of it, so you might describe sometimes that as makeup, but we're not trying to disguise we try to bring out the essence of what is already there, and
that is the point.
Yes, and also in our architecture we do similar things. So we also design architecture, not only interior design, but. We try to be exceptionally dedicated to all the context that is there and build based on that. Yeah.
I understand. And for the end, what is your advice or something like that for our colleagues or younger architects or something like that? Because 90 or 95% of people cannot have that kind of your experience. And
yeah, I think look at what's there. Don't look at what's not there. You know, when I go around the city, I see so many beautiful old buildings and beautiful installations and beautiful spaces. And I think typically people think about we should make new things, but I think that you should try to use what is there to make something that is better, which means it doesn't need to be all demolished. It means you can use an old context. It means you can, things don't need to be perfect. So you be creative and play with what you have.
thank you, Vincent.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think this is a good advice, not to pretend to be something or somebody, just to take the best from what we are or what we have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope that you will be our guest in some future time.
Okay.
That you will come to Belgrade, maybe to work, to project.
That would be great. Yes.
And maybe we will meet again.
Okay, fantastic. I've been inspired by the forum and by the city, so very gladly. Yes. All right.
Thank
you. Okay.
Thank you.